Supergiant Games has officially released Hades 2 a couple weeks ago, and immediately I purchased this game to give it a shot. This is the first sequel, and it's quite a big deal considering they do not add sequels into their previous projects, for example Transistor or Pyre, and my god, they were brewing up something in that fucking cauldron. You know, I'm glad that Supergiant Games are still active and developing games, and they still deliver even after 2011 when they first published Bastion. I highly recommend you viewers to check out that game, as Bastion is the foundation of not only Hades, but building blocks for their future projects. Now, with projects aside, they had finally cut the red ribbon and revealed the long-awaited sequel Hades 2. I wanted to share my impressions of this roguelike hack-and-slash game to you viewers. As of this video, it is in early access, and they are continuing to add more content, optimization for gamers and roguelike enjoyers, refining the art direction as they intend, and bestow their craft to the world. So pay close attention. This is your average Joe Hades 2 review. A disclaimer, this will not be an in-depth review where I cover nearly all the contents and explain each of them and give you guys my opinion. We will be covering the more noticeable mechanics of the game or elements that the sequel had incorporated through the first game. What I will say is that thank you to Darren Korb, the composer behind the soundtrack. The soundtrack does go hard, so you will be listening to that in the background while I discuss this game. Let's get right into it. Firstly, the story. You place yourself in the perspective of Melanoi, daughter of Hades, the sister of Zagreus, as she explores and fights through enemies in pursuit of defeating Kronos, the Titan of Time, after capturing his son Hades to wage war against Olympus. Your starting point is Erebus, where you were raised and trained by Hecate, and as you traverse beyond the forest of Olympus becomes your helping hand to finish what you started. With skills that accompany you, upgrades that leverage you in battles, and weapons in your possessions to ensure a successful outcome through every odds against you. The story unravels at your own pace. We understand the idea of Melanoi on her journey to defeat the Titan of Time with the assistance of Olympus. It is really up to you whether you want to rush to kill Kronos or get to know a lot of the characters and understand their values through interactions. What I really love about this game is how each time you get knocked out and send yourself back into Erebus, the characters have different dialogues and can be altered through the game mechanics itself. For example, if you die many times, a certain character may show up, or if you give them this item called a nectar, their dialogue will adjust to your gameplay. It is like Supergiant Games had made them feel so alive. There is a YouTube channel where they explain the intricate dialogue system. The link is down below, so check them out. Now, in my opinion, the game, despite it being unfinished, feels complete, and I am surprised that Hades 2 will be offering a lot more than what we see in early access. I expect a lot of things from Supergiant Games, considering they know what the hell they're doing in reference to the first game, improving their works over time, and filter out potential flaws and learn from their previous projects to make their current game rejuvenating and alive in a game industry that is filled with quantity over quality games. This sense of quality over quantity in storytelling allows lore nerds to consume and enjoy a fictitious world that Hades 2 encapsulates. Let's move on to the next segment, gameplay. They incorporate a lot of elements that the first game provided. One noticeable feature is the cauldron. As you gather materials in Erebus and other regions as you slash through enemies, you dazzle the area with perks and upgrades that benefit your playstyle. The best example is having this big guy to bargain goods for bones, which are scattered waiting to be collected. Additionally, boons are sticking around, which are power-ups that allow you to take advantage of the field, and I'm not going to be surprised if someone did not use boons for the entire run. You have some fucking balls of steel for you to do so. When it comes to weapon of choice, you have the following: a magic staff, these knives, maracas, and this OP moonstone axe. Depending on how you will approach your enemies, each of them hold distinctive qualities, and you as the player must adapt to the weapons, forcing you to be strategic in battle. Like this magic staff, it is great for players that want to keep a safe distance while dealing moderate amounts of damage, or if you want to use these knives, you must keep your enemies closer and kill them as fast as possible, prioritizing this this agile build. Moving on, Hades 2 adds this mana bar, a mechanic that wasn't introduced in its previous installment. This mana bar gets consumed when dealing heavy attacks or deal a large cast attack, and this particular change is spectacular, where we can calculate through our tough enemies, swift through them like butter. In my opinion, these little adjustments to this game's development are a major deal. Supergiant Games had never failed to impress us time and time again, and it feels like for the first time in a while that a company set aside profit-oriented purposes and listened to an audience, a community they had gathered over the years. Back when they first released Hades early to the public, of course there were unfinished things that they needed to patch up to make it a complete game, and despite bugs yet to be squashed during development, it feels like it was finished, and we question what else was there to add when we were satisfied. And that's where Hades 2 reflects Supergiant Games' passion. Their love is placed into this project and it clearly shows. They also consider what needs to be important during changes and which area needs to be fixed to make this game fully worth investing for future players to enjoy. It is a short video, unfortunately, and man, it would take me a long time for me to explain different features that I possibly haven't covered. It is quite a big deal when Supergiant Games doesn't give other standalone titles their own sequel, and therefore, when this game was announced, it really was a huge commotion. With enchanting soundtracks, amazing gameplay yet to be finalized despite it being early access, and a brand new story waiting to slowly reveal itself for lore nerds and roguelike gamers to deposit their hours into. Hades 2 is a video game that places their fans first before anything, presenting a high-quality project for all to relish, giving us sparks of hope for gaming entirely to be enjoyable once more.